Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm John, and I'm sitting here with my new best friend, the 2021 Honda Trail 125, or CT-125, or Hunter Cub. In this video series, we're focusing on each area of the Honda Trail 125. This video, we're going to choose to focus specifically on the bodywork of the Trail 125. As you can see, it's a very unique bike in terms of bodywork, the looks department, what you see when you look at the bike. So with that, let's check out the Trail 125 and how this unique Jeep-like utility body is configured. Alright, so we step back and look at the bike again. What else? What's the first thing that we see? What's the first thing that jumps out at us? To me, it was this ginormous rear rack. I mean, this thing is literally the size of a small pizza. I kind of call it like a pizza box rack. It's just big. And it's kind of weird because it's body colored. It doesn't have a contrast with the rest of the bike, so it just looks like one big blob that's included with the rest of the bike. So my first thing was thinking about powder coating this black to contrast it a little bit. But it is extremely useful. I don't think you can see it, but there's footprints on this already from my kids. Already, that's the first thing they did, was went and jumped on the rack and stood up there and wanted to go for a little ride. So it's one of the most useful things I've ever seen on a motorcycle, and I've only had it for a day, but I'm just imagining everything that I can put on here. Yeti coolers. When I'm at our car races, I could put parts, gas tanks. I end up taking my bikes back and forth to my parents' shop where we keep our race cars, and oftentimes I have to bring parts. Obviously, we run a Miata parts business, so I'm constantly shuffling parts back and forth. So that is extremely useful, and there's not much more to say about it other than it's a huge rack that you can strap things to. So now we start getting into the subtle details. We have to look a little harder. The things that jump out at you aren't necessarily features, but more or less just details, like the suspension bellows on the front forks. Kind of gives it an off-road vintage sort of motocross look. This front fender, this is not plastic, that's metal. And on the bottom here you have a rubber mud flap, so that's pretty unique too. And this headlight stay is actually metal as well. These turn signals are pretty neat looking, and they're very flexible, so you're probably not going to worry about breaking them too easy. And yes, these are LED indicators. As opposed to being a incandescent bulb style of the past, these are in fact LED, which is very good because they're super reliable. And obviously this is a really flexible sort of light, so that's good for rugged trail use. Obviously the headlight is very similar, if not the same, to the Monkey, but it has a black bezel around it. It does not have the chrome bezel like the Monkey. Same thing with the speedometer and cluster up here. Also a black bezel. So I like that. I would love to have that set up on my Monkey, and it might actually be something that I do. So very cool there. I am curious to see if this headlight has the same problem as the Monkey where it splits. So basically this headlight on the Monkey would come apart if you were doing any off-road stuff. So I did some pretty decent off-road stuff yesterday. So far so good, so I'm curious to keep an eye on that and see where it goes. So we move along down here. Next thing you're going to see is this big engine cradle brace sort of thing, and down here you might not notice is a skid plate. So that's pretty cool because you get into some off-road riding, get some rocks kicking up, and you don't have to worry about it. So on the Monkey, that's one thing I wish I had, and it looks like Honda did a little bit better of a job of getting this exhaust up and out of the way, unlike the Grom and the Monkey, where they basically used the whole bottom of the engine for the exhaust and catalytic converter system. So nice touch on the skid plate, really like that setup. Continuing over here on the right side, we're taking a look at the footpegs. So they are the folding kind, just like every other motorcycle foot peg now. There's a pretty heavy rubber insert in the middle of them, and if you were to take that out, looks like you'd have a pretty grippy, nice wide foot peg. I actually really like these foot pegs, and might even see at some point if they fit on the Monkey or the Grom, because they're just they're kind of motocrossy. And this rubber thing, it has to be able to be taken out, so I'm not going to take it out now. But it looks pretty good peg, and I'm not sure what the point of this stud is on the bottom here. Kind of weird, but maybe it's just to hold something in. I have no idea. So overall, though, those foot pegs look pretty beefy, and I really like how aggressive they are. Looking under the seat here, this almost looks like it's a ring or a bar or some sort, but it's really just a rubber cover over an edge. So that's something that I just realized. Feel kind of silly now thinking that was a bar with some purpose to it, but nope, just a rubber protector for the edge. Another thing you might be asking what these are provisions, and on the Asian market bikes, these are for foot pegs. So they're blanked off on the US models, but foot pegs are something I am definitely going to add to this bike, because you can get a little rear seat cushion for the rack, and I'm going to get that because I ride it with my kids a lot, and I do think the foot pegs are going to be useful in this bike's future. Moving to the back here, the rear taillight housing and rear indicators are packaged very nicely under this rack, as opposed to the Honda Monkey and the Honda Grom, which have a really obtuse and just offensive rear tail sort of fender thing. So these are definitely packaged a lot nicer, and yes, these are also LED. So as opposed to the Monkey, which had this really ridiculous big lobster tail style rear fender, we find on the trail a very petite and nicely packaged little fender extension that looks very at home on the bike. And this sticker is probably going to bug a lot of people out there, so I'll just take it off right now. That was therapeutic, wasn't it? Okay, so moving along, the rear taillight and side marker assemblies I think look really good on this bike. I do not plan to change those, and the only thing I might do is maybe take off these reflectors and associated little things, kind of trim the bike down a little bit. Once I get my real tag in, I'll start messing around with that sort of stuff. We'll see how it looks. So nothing more to say really about the tail end, except that I like it. It's packaged really well, and I don't see much room for needing to do anything back here as opposed to the Monkey. Okay, thanks for watching. Please be sure to check out all of the other feature videos on the Trail 125. I try to cover each section of the bike in up-close detail, foregoing the specifications and more or less showing you how it works on the bike and what I feel about it. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you like this content. There's tons more to come.